Hi, I'm Luke from Four Paws and welcome to Perfectly Imperfect. Please give this video a massive thumbs up and subscribe if you find this video helpful. But for now, let's talk about aggression. So, has your dog ever growled at you when you approach him around food? Or maybe he's given a small grumble when you've approached him near a toy? Has your dog just been having cuddles and then suddenly decided to walk away and have a grumble on the way out? Is your dog actually growling and baring teeth, or are they just communicating to you? So, a few years back, not that long ago really, we used to believe aggression was a kind of condition. And based upon that, we believed that we had to kind of, you could say, defeat it out of the dog. Fortunately, in today's world, we've come a very long way and we now understand it a lot more. So, in a very generalized way, aggression at its core is very simply built up of an instinct and an emotion or feeling. Now, 90% of aggression comes from fear or stems from fear. And the reason for that, if we think about it logically, when we don't want to lose something, we try and protect it. While in a dog's nature, baring teeth is a way of saying get back, stay away. Now it's more important, instead of trying to defeat the aggression out of your dog, to try and diagnose as to why it's there. And that's generally the scary or the nerve-wracking issue that we have. For example, as mentioned at the start of the video, when you started stroking your dog while he was eating, did he then growl? Chances are, in that scenario, he's telling you to stay back from his food. It could be a lack of trust, believing that you're going to take the food away and therefore he's trying to protect his food. Or it could just be he is communicating to you in a very normal way of canine communication, which is very simply, this is mine, please leave it alone. And if we push forward, we have a risk of escalating the situation, making a non-aggressive dog use aggression to make his point. And that's the thing we have to remember. How we respond to these situations can actually determine if a dog continues the behaviour or learns a new one. So as mentioned before, this is just a generalized version, okay? This could be in multiple different scenarios, it could be multiple issues, and this is not including any sort of medical issues in mind. This is very simply, is my dog growling because he or she is aggressive, or is my dog growling just to manipulate and get his or her own way? And sometimes it can be hard to tell the difference between the two. And dogs are very good at manipulating, and they do practice and learn behaviours. But the practice behaviour is what's going to be seen on a more regular basis. So if your dog is, say, growling at you 2 times a day, but never actually using saliva, never actually baring teeth, never actually lunging forward or doing jumping jacks forward very quickly, then the chances are your dog's not aggressive at all, but he or she is actually showing you a practiced behaviour of getting what he or she wants. Now that could be a number of things of keeping the toy, keeping the food, keeping you away from the food. It could be an example of how I get my spot on the sofa. If you approach me, I bare teeth, you back away, I get to stay on the sofa. If I have a bone and you approach me with your hand out, I bare teeth, you back away, I get to keep my bone. Again, what actually is aggression? Like I said, 90% of cases have been proven to be fear-based. Not necessarily scared of you, okay? I'm not saying your dog is now terrified of you, which is why he or she is showing aggression. But it could be fear of losing an item, fear of not having what he or she wants, fear of something being taken away. Again, if I was to come to you today and ask if I could borrow your car and I will try and return it in a couple of days' time, your immediate reaction is what? No. Or, in some cases, how no? Why? Because you're scared, or you fear that you won't get your car back. I might crash it, I might break it. And that right there is the fear that could trigger some type of aggression. Now, dogs displaying aggression does not necessarily mean you have an aggressive dog, but it does mean your dog is trying to communicate with you. And what you do with this information, what you do with that communication, is very important. For example, if you was to say no to your dog and automatically it becomes a very sort of standoff situation, then you are basically practicing the definition of insanity. If you said no 4 times and now you're going to say no another 4 times and your dog's going to growl and get louder and louder and louder, then again you're just arguing and arguing and getting no results. You being the owner, it's your responsibility to notice when you're in a bad situation and then change the situation. For example, if I'm having a standoff with a dog, I do whatever I feel in the moment to end the standoff. That could be whether I walk away, or that could be whether I change my cue. So instead of saying no, I would say back, or I would say here, or I say sit. I do something to change the situation. Dogs don't generally argue the same way humans do. They won't necessarily stand there and shout, 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 shout. Some do, some have learnt this behaviour, but essentially the way a dog argues is to ignore or put a full stop to it. And that's where the aggression again comes in. We as humans, we're not used to having full stops put in place, and that's why it catches us off guard. So, the next time your dog grumbles or growls or bares teeth, try to diagnose, is this a practice behaviour or is this actually aggression? And then on top of that, figure out the best way for you to handle the situation without creating an escalation. We do not want the dogs to escalate. We do not want them to go up the bite ladder, so to speak, and feel that a bite is actually needed. We want our dogs to feel that if it's a legit warning, if it's a legit, I don't like this, I'm not happy, you need to give me time, you need to leave me alone for a minute, then you could say fair play or fair enough. But when it is just simple things like, I don't want to give you my bone back, then there are training methods that you can do to actually build this up very slowly. It will take time, of course, and it does build trust, and that's the important thing. We want the dog to know if he gives me his bone, he is going to get it back, or at the very least he's going to get something else in return. That can be playing, that can be affection, that can be treats, it can be a number of things. But essentially, if your dog has already got into a routine of going from 0 to 1, 1 to 2, meaning not going from 0 to 100 very quickly, then there's lots of leeway there for you to practice different types of communication, different types of situations and systems to help you and your dog get a much stronger bond. I'm Luke from 4 Paws. Don't forget to subscribe. If you found this video helpful, please give it a big thumbs up, and I will catch you next time. Thank you very much.